It's Kyle here, and today I'll be reviewing The Looking Glass Wars by Frank Beddor. This book has somewhat of a complicated plot, so instead of me trying to summarize it, I'm just going to read the back cover because it does an excellent job of giving an overview of what the book is about. So if you excuse me for reading the back cover for a second. The myth. Alice Adele was an ordinary girl who stepped through the looking glass and entered a fairy tale world invented by Lewis Carroll in his famous storybook. The truth. Wonderland is real. Alice's heart is the heir to the throne, until her murderous aunt Red steals the crown and kills Alice's parents. To escape Red, Alice and her bodyguard Hatter Madigan, must flee to our world through the Pool of Tears. But in the pool, Alice and Hatter are separated. Lost and alone in Victorian London, Alice is befriended by an inspiring author, to whom she tells the violent, heartbreaking story of her young life. Yet he gets the story all wrong. Hatter Madigan knows the truth only too well, and he is searching every corner of our world to find the lost princess and return her to Wonderland so she may battle Red for her rightful place as the Queen of Hearts. I think that does an excellent job of summarizing what this book is about. Before I get more into the plot and what I thought of it, I wanted to point out a few physical aspects of this copy of the book. One, I think it has a really neat cover, but one aspect I really love is the binding. I think that's a beautiful design. I'm not sure how closely you can see that. Then another nice touch I thought is on all the pages in the book. It has all four suits of playing cards, so hearts, diamonds, clubs, and spades, which in the story of Alice in Wonderland obviously plays a key role. Then the thing I thought was probably the coolest, at the back of the book, there's a timeline. And basically what the author does with this timeline, as you might have guessed from the back cover of this book, the author is kind of exploring the idea that Wonderland's a real world and then we have our reality. And at certain points, the two worlds could kind of come together and meet. And the idea the author has in this book is that when the action happens in Wonderland, it actually influences events in our world. And basically this timeline kind of gives you a better view of this idea. So for example, let me show you a couple examples. Let's see here. Find a good example. All right, here we go. France and England forced China to allow opium to be sold, October 1860. So that's in our reality. In Wonderland, Red orders everyone to use black imagination stimulant. Let's see, here we go. In our world, in July 1861, observation balloons are used in the American Civil War. In Wonderland, Red invents glass eyes to hunt Elysians. So that's kind of the basic idea, you know, something is invented in Wonderland or some new government policy is enacted and actually influences our world to take a somewhat similar action, which I thought was a kind of an interesting idea. So I really enjoyed that aspect, especially since some of the elements mentioned in the timeline are historical events, and I'm kind of a history buff, so I kind of like to see what the author did with that idea. But enough with that stuff. This is a great book. It's an excellent story, very interesting concept that Wonderland's a real world, but the young princess has to flee to our world to escape the murderous Red. And the really interesting thing I think this author does is Alice is a very young girl in this book. She's just 7 when all this horrific stuff happens to her parents. So she kind of gets transferred to our world, and she really doesn't know what's going on. She just saw her parents get killed, and now she's in this world where they don't know that Wonderland exists. And they keep on telling her Wonderland's not real, but in her mind she knows Wonderland's real, but she can't see any evidence of Wonderland, and she begins to question herself. You know, is she crazy? Did she make Wonderland up? What's real? Is this world real? Sorry, can't talk today. Or is Wonderland real? And the author does an excellent job of showing how this impacts Alice as she grows up in our world and how it shapes her personality, the adult she becomes eventually. Interesting idea. Like I said, I love the story idea. The characters are very well developed. It's a very action-packed book. It moves very quickly. There's a good mix of serious elements in the book, but mixed in with comedic characters that kind of help lighten the mood so it doesn't get too dark all the time. I think this is one of these books that somebody that's just getting into reading novels just starting to read books, you know, of decent lengths can really enjoy it. But at the same time, an adult could read this book and enjoy it because it has a great plot, very well written, excellent idea, very well executed by the author. So I really recommend The Looking Glass Wars by Frank Beddor. This is the first book in a trilogy. I haven't read the other books yet, so I can't really comment on those yet, but I enjoyed this book enough that I will be picking up the second book in the series. So I highly recommend this book. I hope you'll check it out, and I will see you the next time.